Welcome to West Valley Rural, and I'm Ranger Dave, and today we're going to be talking about something that's called swales. No, I didn't say whales, I said swales, so work with me. What is a swale? Well, okay, there's a number of structures that you can build to slow down runoff. One made of rock, or a rock major structure, would be called a gabion. A swale is more of an earthwork. Can be large or can be small. It's for the purpose of either slowing down rainfall or catching rainfall, for storage, for maybe wildlife, for agriculture. The whole idea being, how much rain do we let get away? Okay, a lot of people keep praying to God for rain. Okay, well, why should God send you more rain when you got piss poor management, you're not using what he gives you? Okay, think about that. So, what is a swale? Well, I was talking to another resident out here that I just met, and he had essentially mentioned that he had put swales in his property, and I'm thinking, oh, man after my own heart. Okay, but then he also mentioned that people would come on the property and not even recognize the value of it, or didn't even know what it was. And that's why we have droughts in Arizona. Okay, it's a simple. These things are simple, okay, and they can be built easily. If you want a big one, you just need a bulldozer. If you want a small one, you just pick and shovel. And the thing is, okay. Look at it like this. When we get a good rainfall, a lot of people, better go inside, it's raining. No, you know what? Half the time I'm outside. Okay? Because I'm looking for what's flowing onto the property, how fast is it flowing, and where is it flowing. And I'm looking to slow it down. So that way, whatever comes on my property soaks into my property. My rain is my rain. Sorry, neighbor, I'm trying not to let it flow onto your property. Okay, but that's the purpose of swales and gabions. And I'm going to take you out to a swale that I know about, and I imagine that a lot of people just drive right past it and have no idea what that group of trees is, what its purpose is, or don't even see it. So let's take a little trip. All right, I'm out north of Coyote Wash, and those are the Belmonts in the background there. This is on the road to Wickenburg, and I'm going to show you what a swale is. Okay, a lot of people, I wonder how many people drive past this and never bother even wondering, what's that group of trees. I remember when this went in, and these trees have grown. So if you ever wonder what a swale is, it's an earthwork, mounded earth, and it's for the collection of water, rainwater in particular. Now, it could be swales. A swale's purpose, it could be for livestock, essentially collecting rainwater for livestock, or you can use them for agricultural means. Essentially in the center of the swale, growing because of the evaporative cool effect and the effect of the trees creating that microclimate. A lot of times you can turn that center of that swale into agriculture and grow things that might not survive the heat. So let's go look at a swale. All right, there's going to be what fills the swale. There's just a low, a gully or wash, a small wash that essentially cuts across the road. Road's right over there, and essentially there's a channel there, and look at all these mesquite trees. Now, some were planted when the swale went in, and this swale is probably a couple decades old now. I remember when they put it in. Some of these trees were planted, but a lot essentially have rooted themselves from seed and grown. It's just the nature of the beast. mound up the earth, and essentially you get some trees planted. And again, some will be planted and some will just grow on their own. And you can tell by, as I came in here, there's almost a 5 to 10 degree temperature drop just from the evaporative cool effect of the trees. And look at the size of these trees. It shows they're getting plenty of water. Look at that. That is a beautiful tree. And then typically in the center of the swale will be a depression. Now we had this wet winter. I should have stopped by here when it was full. What you can tell how much water this held during this wet winter. And even though we haven't had rain in weeks now, you still got a piece of water there. This one is primarily for they got range cattle in the area, so primarily for range cattle. But this you can see this is a sizable swale that they've done, and the prime entrance for the water. What they did was they channeled a small wash, and that's, although you're going to get some runoff, off of the slopes here, but it's very clear that that's your prime source of what's going to be filling up this swale. Now, once you got a swale like this, I mean, depending on, eventually you're going to have a buildup in the soil of essentially vegetative matter, and you can plant it, or this in the center of a swale, you could put this is where you would put your fruit trees if you did a big enough swale or did something like that in your yard. So you do your exterior trees. That creates a microclimate area, protecting the center. And then the center, in this, like I say, in this case, it's for cattle. You can see they come in here for their water. This, I believe, is probably put in by game and fish, or maybe the range cattle, whoever's doing the range cattle out here. But this is a swale. There are any number of swales all across the state. You got to know what to look for. Sometimes it's just a matter of what's that grouping of trees that's just a little bit higher than the desert area, and then it's like, oh, it might be a swale. Might be somebody put a swale in. But you can do, if you have a huge piece of property, do a swale. Figure out where your slope of water, figure out where your water comes in, and maybe mound the earth and build up the area, line it with trees, and eventually you have an area to grow things that you might not have been able to. But you can do small swales as well if you got a smaller yard. Swale's good for gardening, good for cattle, good for climate, great for your nature. If you got imagine deer know about this swale as well. All the mule deer in the area. But that's a swale. Think about it. Again, this is a big one, but think about what you can do on your property in a small way to have the same effect. Swales and gabions do not have to be huge as the one we just visited. This is a kind of a swale gabion. I did have a little bit of earth in there, added a little bit of earth behind board, and then you just throw some bricks, rocks in there, anything to slow that water down. Like we saw in that large swale, they had some trees that they planted, clearly planted, and then you have some that just grow in. And this is what's going on with this one. I have that, this is a feathery cassia, and so I had the main one that I planted. And look at what's happening at the base of this feathery cassia. It's going to fill in with vegetation. Those are all little feathery cassia. And eventually, this will be a huge natural hedge. You got to be patient, but that is what you can do with gabions and swales. Well, I hope you now know what a swale is. Now, again, some people, you know, on your small properties, you know, you don't need a bulldozer. But think about the where the water is running, and maybe you can put some a few swales, little catchments here and there. Maybe that way that when it does, those gushers do come, that it just doesn't flow off your property and essentially just take a whole lot of soil with it, make a whole mass, or think about ways to slow that water down. Look at where it's coming onto your property, look at where it's exiting your property, and look at the speed, velocity, and just the flow, the general flow, and figure out ways to just slow it down. All right, we'll see you next time on West Valley Rural, and I'm Ranger Dave, and have a nice day, and think about those swales.